Muslim civilizations have been among the most powerful engines of intellectual, scientific, and cultural progress in human history. During what is often called the Golden Age of Islam, roughly 8th to 14th centuries, while Europe was in its early Middle Ages, the Islamic world was a vibrant center of learning, innovation, and discovery. This era was characterized by the translation and preservation of classical knowledge from Greek, Persian, Indian, and Chinese sources, and, most importantly, by groundbreaking original contributions that laid the foundations for the European Renaissance and the modern world. Here are some of the most significant contributions across different fields. 1. Mathematics. Muslim scholars transformed mathematics, building on Indian and Greek ideas and creating entirely new fields. Algebra. The Persian scholar Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi, circa 780 to 850, wrote the foundational text, Al-Kitab al-Muqtazar fi Hisab al-Jabr wal-Muqabala, the compendious book on calculation by completion and balancing. The word algebra is derived from al-Jabr. He is often called the grandfather of computer science because the term algorithm is derived from his name. Hindu Arabic numerals. Muslim mathematicians adopted the Indian numeral system, including the revolutionary concept of zero, and propagated it throughout the world. This system, 0, 1, 2, 3, replaced cumbersome Roman numerals and is the global standard today. Trigonometry. Scholars like al-Battani, circa 858 to 929, refined the study of triangles and introduced the use of sine, cosine, tangent, and cotangent functions. Decimal fractions. Mathematicians like al-Kashi, circa 1380 to 1429, perfected the use of decimal fractions, a cornerstone of modern mathematics. 2. Medicine. Islamic medicine was remarkably advanced and systematic, dominating the field for centuries. The canon of medicine, the Persian polymath Ibn Sina, Avicenna, 980-1037, wrote this monumental encyclopedia. It was a standard medical text in European universities for over 500 years. It systematized medical knowledge, described contagious diseases, and introduced clinical trials and pharmacology. Surgery. Abu al-Qasim al-Zahrawi, Abulqasis, 936-1013, is considered the father of modern surgery. His 30-volume medical encyclopedia, Al-Tasrif, described over 200 surgical instruments, many of which he invented, and detailed procedures for cataract, caesarean section, and treating fractures. Anatomy and physiology. Ibn al-Nafis, 1213 to 1288, discovered the pulmonary circulation of blood, correctly describing how blood flows from the heart to the lungs and back, centuries before William Harvey. Hospitals. The Islamic world established the first modern-style hospitals with separate wards for different diseases, teaching facilities, and libraries. They were open to all, regardless of religion or wealth. 3. Astronomy. Driven by the need to determine the direction of prayer, Qibla, and religious times, Muslims made incredibly accurate astronomical observations. Observatories. They built sophisticated observatories, like the Maracah and Samarkand observatories, which were centers of research for centuries. Star catalogs and maps. Abd al-Rahman al-Sufi, 903 to 986, wrote the Book of Fixed Stars, providing detailed illustrations and descriptions of constellations, including the first recorded mention of the Andromeda Galaxy. Planetary motion. Scholars like Ibn al-Shatir, 1304 to 1375, developed mathematical models for planetary motion that were mathematically identical to those proposed by Copernicus centuries later, suggesting a direct influence. 4. Chemistry and alchemy. Building on Greek and Egyptian alchemy, Muslim scholars transformed it into the experimental science of chemistry. The father of chemistry, Jabir ibn Hayyan, Geber, circa 721 to 815, is credited with introducing the experimental method into chemistry. He discovered many acids, developed processes like distillation, crystallization, and filtration, and invented numerous laboratory apparatuses, such as the alembic, which are still in use today. Classification of substances. He classified substances into three groups: spirits, volatile materials, metals, and non-malleable substances, which could be transformed into powders. 5. Physics and engineering. Optics. Ibn al-Haytham, al-Hasan, circa 965-1040, is considered the father of modern optics. In his Book of Optics, he proved that vision occurs when light reflects off an object and enters the eye, disproving earlier emission theories. He studied lenses, mirrors, and the camera obscura, laying the groundwork for the later invention of the telescope and camera. Mechanics and engineering. The Banu Musa brothers, 9th century, in Baghdad wrote the Book of Ingenious Devices, which described 100 automated machines, including trick vessels, mechanical fountains, and automatic controls. Al-Jazari, 1136 to 1206, wrote the Book of Knowledge of Ingenious Mechanical Devices, which described sophisticated machines like water-raising devices, combination locks, and programmable humanoid automata. He is often called the father of robotics. 6. Geography and exploration. World maps. Scholars like Muhammad al-Idrisi, 1100 to 1165, created the most accurate world maps of the pre-modern era, the Tabula Rogeriana, for the Norman king Roger II of Sicily. It was based on accounts from Muslim and Christian travelers and remained the most accurate map for 3 centuries. Travel literature. Ibn Battuta, 1304 to 1369, traveled over 75,000 miles across Africa, Asia, and Europe, documenting his journeys in the Rihla, a priceless historical and geographical record. 7. Social sciences and humanities. Historiography and sociology. Ibn Khaldun, 1332 to 1406, is a foundational figure in these fields. In his Muqaddimah, Prolegomena, he pioneered the scientific study of history, analyzing the roles of social cohesion, asabiyyah, economics, and the environment in the rise and fall of civilizations. Coffee. The first documented evidence of coffee drinking comes from Sufi monasteries in Yemen in the 15th century, used to stay awake for night prayers. It then spread to the rest of the world. The legacy. This period of intense innovation was fueled by the translation movement, a massive, state-sponsored effort to translate the world's knowledge into Arabic. The spirit of inquiry. Quranic verses encouraging the observation of nature and the pursuit of knowledge, ILM, were a powerful motivator. A multicultural, tolerant environment. Scholars of different faiths, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, often work together in centers of learning like the House of Wisdom, Beit al-Hikmah, in Baghdad. Many of these discoveries and inventions were later transmitted to Europe through Spain, Al-Andalus, Sicily, and during the Crusades, where they were translated into Latin and became the building blocks for the European Renaissance and the scientific revolution. The story of human progress is profoundly indebted to these centuries of Muslim scholarship.